right, ask me my favorite holidays. Well, Halloween, I used to like that as a kid because I could get a lot of candy. I like Thanksgiving because it's not all cluttered up with the commercialism of Christmas, which is right around the corner. But I think maybe Father's Day would be high on my list because I'm a father. One day set aside for guys like me. So let's talk about Father's Day. I find it interesting that when Jesus taught us to pray, that he said, you start prayers like this: Our Father who art in heaven. Fascinating, isn't it, that when God wanted us to understand what he was like, he used the father illustration because he is the perfect father. But what about fathers who aren't in heaven? Fathers who aren't all that perfect. How do you celebrate dads who are not perfect? Because none of us are perfect. Well, here's what I think. I think there isn't a dad in the world that gets up and says, I can't wait to be evil. So maybe we ought to just forgive our dads more freely. That would be a great Father's Day gift. Dad, I know you haven't always been perfect, but I love you anyway. I want you to know that some of those things, I forgive you, and then just give him a big hug. Well, one of the male diseases we have is affirmation. I don't know of a man who doesn't thrive on affirmation, a little stroke of the ego. And sometimes, I don't want to say that, we'll give him a big head. Well, your dad needs affirmation. So maybe make a list of all the things you love about your dad and tell him about it. So I think that would be a great way, a couple things for Father's Day. But what does strike me, if I can talk to dads for a minute, to those of us who are fathers, that since God uses the father image, how important it is then for me that God's my model. Like if he's the perfect father, how can I be more like him? I think about how patient he is with my faults and how patient dads ought to be with the faults of their children. I think about how quick he is to forgive. And sometimes our kids are going to do things that we just need to be God the Father to them, don't we? And just readily forgive them. I think about how God unconditionally loves. He loves us regardless, and that dads need to prove to their kids, hey, I love you regardless, no matter what. I think about God caring about my future and protecting and providing and all these things that God is. So a word to dads on Father's Day. Do an inventory. What has God been like to you? Then be like that to your kids. And I think that'll make the next Father's Day a really easy day for everybody who wants to celebrate you. I think the highest compliment a dad could ever get would be someone said, well, my dad's not perfect, but he kind of reminds me of God, my Father in heaven. And that's what I love about my dad.